flipped all down a canoe. Right there. Things we learned on the way.
Things we learnt on the way. This trip was like, you call it our shakedown cruise, to find out if there's things wrong with the boat, to find them on this trip, and to learn
how it performs, how it handles, and to find out what literally falls off when you shake it. Going down locks is easier than going up, at least on the way. The locks here are mostly very old.
Yeah.
It's the oldest navigation on the canal system. We made it all the way to Godalming, which is the southernmost point on the way navigation.
Well, on the whole navigation.
The whole navigation, yeah. The whole currently navigable, continuously joined navigation.
We made it to the southerly point.
Made it to the southernmost point.
So we also learnt that it's nicer to cruise in the sunshine, or just not in the rain. Like, the rain was miserable. And even when it's been raining in the night, and then you get up and you go in the early morning, and all the lock gates are wet, so when you try and push them open by leaning on them, you get a soggy bottom.
No.
And that's miserable.
Yeah. And we learned not to park by cows unless you expect to step in shit.
And then walk the poo through the boat, and then do the same thing in the morning.
Yeah.
But it was nice being by the cows.
It was actually really nice being by the cows. None of them attacked. That's good. Neither did the swans. There were baby swans. There were ducks.
Going through Guildford was weird, because I've been there shopping so many times, but never been down to the river. And then, obviously, you'd never been there before. And then you went into Guildford when we came back again, and we're just like, get me back to the boat.
Yeah, that was really weird. It was like walking off of one lifestyle and into something completely urban.
Being on a river was fine. There's been a few hairy points, like going into a lock by a weir when the wind picked up. That wasn't fun.
Yeah, currents can really get you.
And there's been lots of weirs.
Lots of weirs.
And lots of quite tight bends.
And not a heck of a lot of signage.
Yeah.
So you get into a lot of places where all of a sudden the river forks and you've got, like, you know, I could go this way or I could go that way.
And it's only because you see a lock like halfway down the view, or
one of them turns and all you see is ducks.
Yeah, or there might be a tiny little sign that you can't even read.
But luckily we made it all the way.
Yeah, we chose the right...
Down the way.
We chose the right way along the way.
So there was one bridge on the way, Broadford Bridge, that was just 6 foot 4 inches of what they call air draft, which is height above the water. And our boat is supposedly 6 feet, but that doesn't include some stuff on the top, so we had to approach it very, very slowly. Kind of come to almost a complete halt. Joe at the front, me at the back, and just see if our TV aerial, which is that thing up front that looks a bit like something out of Star Trek, would make it under. As we're going through, I'm trying to duck down lower and lower and lower as we're getting closer and closer and closer to this thing that's just barely skimming over the brass mushroom caps and then straight over my head. And it was only at the last second that I realized that could have hit the tiller pin.
There is a sign as you approach the bridge telling you what the air draft is depending on the height of the water. And by that stage it's too late anyway, you're kind of committed.
Yeah.
How was the bridge?
Extremely short. I'm glad we made it, but if we'd had the antenna still attached, it would have been torn off and we nearly lost the tiller pin. I would say that there's a few minor things that we've learned. Don't expect to spend your first week not spending extra money.
I mean, that was one hard thing. Like, we only bought a week's license from the National Trust, and that's meant, because we were like, oh, it's 2 days there, 2 days back, that's plenty of time. But it's meant that whenever we've got to shops, we've had to go to the shops to buy tools, and that's meant that we've literally up in the morning and go and then we stop at like 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. and we're exhausted.
Yeah.
And it would be nice to have a few days off. So we're looking forward to a day, which I don't know when it will happen, when we're not cruising, because it has just been day after day
just
after
go,
day.
go, and like many locks.
And it's just exhausting because some of the gates are really heavy and they're really low down, so you can't get your way behind them.
Yeah.
Oh, and one thing I've noticed is when you're on a boat, everyone wants to talk to you. Like everyone on the towpath says hello, like children wave at you, people stop when you're at locks and talk to you. But
Swans come over.
Cows come over. Everyone wants to be your friend. But then when you're walking along like you leave the boat and you're walking along the towpath, nobody says hello. You're like, you're invisible again.
Yeah.
The other thing, like here, it's really quiet. There has hardly been any boats. It's Sunday today and we were cruising yesterday and there was more boats, but not really many.
No, today's really, well, I guess, yeah, today's really been kind of the busiest day, but it's mainly been people in sculls and kayaks and...
In terms of like the shakedown cruise, the main thing was the batteries, which we talked about in the last video. We haven't really pushed the batteries since. Like we've been really conservative about the electricity we use overnight, and we've not run out. And then the night it rained, we had water coming in at the front door, but we think we've worked out at the front where the steel kind of bends over. There's a couple of holes being drilled to fix things, which has created a gap between the two plates of steel, and we think the rain's been going in there and then coming down.
Yeah.
So Michael's plugged that and hopefully that's been fixed. And then also at the back hatch we've got water coming in and we haven't got a fix for that yet, but it wasn't flooding in, it was just dripping in. Although when I woke Michael up in the middle of the night to say,
it sounded like it was flooding.
We've got water coming in, he did that.
I shot straight up. We've got water coming in. Ha! What are we And then I see 2 drips. A little bit of sense of like, oh my god, what did I just get woken up for? Why is my heart in my throat?
The drip was keeping me awake and I was trying to work out where it was from on my own.
Yeah, but where it wasn't from was the floor.
And then, yeah, the other issue was yesterday, just as we were getting ready to leave in the morning, I switched the inverter on and plugged everything into charge, but then that was before Michael switched the engine on, so he switched the engine on, but like revved it really high.
The accelerator was in neutral, but it was a little bit high up. So the moment that the engine kicked in, the alternator kicked in and threw a surge into the line.
And the laptop adapter kind of went sizzle.
Hey Apple, your 3 amp fuse doesn't work.
And I had a mild heart attack as I see smoke coming out of the socket.
Yeah, which meant we thought that it was the socket, so then
the whole time we were in Godalming, we didn't get to have a nice time in Godalming. We spent it in home base, which is right by the Godalming Wharf, which was really convenient.
But yeah, Godalming was just running around trying to figure out how to fix the thing.
Which turned out not to be the faceplate of the electric. It wasn't the circuit. It was the dodgy Apple, the broken Apple.
The broken Apple adapter.
And when we were testing the circuit before, we didn't think to test anything else, so we were testing it with the broken thing. We'll get all these teething problems out of the way, and then we haven't quite decided where to go next.
Probably Basingstoke. And then from Basingstoke to the Kennet Navan via the Thames. But we'll find out.
But before that, we have 3 locks to do before we find a mooring tonight, so...
Yeah, so onwards and downwards. That leaves more weight than us. So much faster than us. It's amazing.
Probably, yeah.